Good morning, and afternoon, and evening. I am 2 minutes late nearly. What a crime. Can you guys hear me all right? Can you guys hear me okay? Good, 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 good. How are we all doing? How's everyone feeling today? How's everyone finding the program? How's it going? Talk to me, guys. Just started today. Road to 100K. That's the hardest road. Yeah, so it looks like a lot of people are making their way on a week 2 now. So that's exciting. That's really exciting. That's where the big changes and the big shifts come through. So starting from zero, would you choose a direct response marketing agency? Yeah, you could do. If I was starting again, then yeah, I definitely would. So week 2 of the academy. I can't lie, how is the course free? Because it is. Inda says, how'd you come back from burnout? You'll come around, man. Your body will. Burnout is kind of like it's like a mechanism that your body uses to protect you. You know, it's necessary because if you don't have it, it's like you'll end up in a real bit of trouble. Just like let your body process what it has to process, let your stress levels come down, and you'll come back to it. Just try and avoid doing stupid things when you are burned out. It's the late nights, it's the drinking, it's the food. That's the stuff that carries the burnout through. If you have a clean burnout session where you're like exhausted from work and you basically have like 1 or 2 days where you just lay around and do nothing, you'll be fine within a day or two. But if during that time you start consuming all sorts of bad foods or you go back into bad habits, you just basically fry your dopamine receptors, then coming back from that, it takes like a week. Like a lot of people get over their burnout in like 2 to 3 days, but they just destroy their dopamine receptors. And so like, yeah, they just end up in a bad way. Yeah, I'm going to answer the questions from the comment section in school. We'll go through those in a second here. We've got a lot of questions there. So Magic John, how's it going, man? How many times do you work out a week? Right now, only like 2, man. I usually do like 4 or 5, but for the last couple of months, I've only been able to get like 2 to 3 sessions in a week tops. Before I get like really tired or my central nervous system just doesn't recover at the moment for some reason. I'm not as physically able as usual, and I think a lot of that is just because of work stress and all those things. So, but I'm on the mend, which is good. Is the course going to be free forever, or will it cost money soon? That's something we're still deciding. So yeah, what's the difference between Easy Grow 1 and 2? 2 is basically just it's Easy Grow 1 but supercharged with AI, and all the systems in Easy Grow 2.0 are just updated from Easy Grow 1. So they're just better, they're more efficient, they're sort of more like cutting edge, if you'd like, with more AI automation in there. Yeah, it's a good question. Matt Perry. Why do I recognize that name, Matt? Do I know you from somewhere? No, I'm thinking of another guy called Matt. I don't think we've met before, Matt, have we? What's my favorite module and why? If you're referring to like overall module, like as like a week, then probably week 2. But my favorite module, I guess that means, do you mean like my favorite module to make or my favorite module to watch? I didn't really enjoy making any of them, to be honest. They're all quite stressful to make. I think the one that stands out to me the most in terms of the one that made me have the biggest sort of like aha moment was unrelenting discipline, specifically with like managing the burnout, the rest periods, the discipline periods. I think that was my longest recording and also my longest ever PDF. And that was a slog to get through that one. It was a big topic. So yeah, there's that for sure. How do you watch another video? What was that question? Seifel, how do you watch another video right after watching a 3-hour long video without brain fog? Dude, you should be able to watch like a 3-hour long video without getting brain fog, man. Like concentrating for 3 hours shouldn't give you brain fog. And if it does, it's an indication that you're receiving brain fog from other parts of your body, most likely your gut or your nervous system. Maybe you're not eating healthy, maybe you're not sleeping properly, maybe you're overtraining, maybe you've got stress or problems in your life that are frying your central nervous system. Like, because I'd invite you to think about, like, imagine watching a movie for 3 hours. You wouldn't feel brain fog after that. You're just sat there just consuming information. It's obviously a little bit different, but yeah, like Malcolm said, I quit all my voices and my brain fog basically disappeared. Yeah, that's you shouldn't have brain fog after watching a 3-hour video, man. You can feel a bit tired and you can feel a bit like, oh, like, you know, a bit kind of tired and a bit like, oh shit, I'm tired. But brain fog's an indication of inflammation in the body, and just watching a video shouldn't inflame you. Tadlos, how's it going, man? Good to see you again. How did the week start? Yeah, good, man. Decent start to the week. I've been quite exhausted start to the week. I worked through most of the weekend and have been quite tired as of lately. So I'm just kind of managing that, keeping myself sharp, keeping myself rested. Other than that, man, decent start to the week. Had a fantastic October as far as company sales go, so that was brilliant. Yeah. Right, let's turn the air conditioning on and we'll get into some questions, shall we? Let's do it. What's going on, Hadith? I've been good, man. Hope you're well as well. Jay Sneak says, what's some non-negotiables you have for your day and also approach your life? 8 hours of sleep, no sugar, no caffeine, no seed oils, no gluten, no dairy, minimal alcohol, no nicotine. If you get all of those things right, like some people disagree on the caffeine one, but if you get all of those things right, man, like work becomes a lot easier, man. It really does. Where is the program? Is it the Skool Academy? Yeah, if you just go to skool.com/academy. No dairy, no caffeine. I don't eat dairy because I'm partially intolerant to it, as are like most people on the planet. Again, this is just me, right? This is just off my blood results, off of my intolerances, my allergens, etc. So yeah, I used to like eat lots of dairy, and it makes me feel like it makes my gut go inflamed and gives me brain fog. I do eat eggs sometimes. Dairy intolerance. I do eat eggs sometimes, but I again am intolerant to them. I basically nuked my gut when I was younger from trying to bulk. Like I fucked my gut so bad. So I can eat them, but just not too many of them, and I like to eat them. So let's have a look at these questions then. So I am just looking in the bottom left-hand corner here, and it looks like we can kind of read the questions okay. So just want to get a clear understanding that you guys can see the questions in the bottom left-hand corner, yeah? Can you read that in the bottom, just so I'm not tripping? Cool. Well, look, guys, we're going to keep this this stream a bit more chill. Last time I kind of blasted through a bunch of questions real fast, and I kind of found that to be a little rushed. It kind of felt a bit clinical. So we're actually just going to have more of a hangout session here where I'm going to basically scroll through the questions, pick ones that I think are good and answer those. And then we can kind of discuss it and kind of get a little bit more of an interactive approach going than just me, being some sort of fucking chatbot. So yeah, let's have a look. So Len says, how do you install a mental sense of destiny like Alexander the Great? Which is, I saw this question, it's one of the first questions on there, which is really good. I think that, a lot of those historical figures, like specifically like Alexander, they have this personality trait or something lodged in their psyche called grandiosity. And grandiosity is basically a trait or a character trait that makes you feel like you're better than everybody else, makes you feel like you're destined for greatness. And kind of reminds me of that Michael Jordan interview of like, why not? Why can't I be the best player in the league? I don't see why I can't do that. That's a quote from Michael Jordan when he was coming up and someone said to him, they were like, well, do you think you can be the best? And he was like, I don't see why not. And so like a lot of hyper successful people have grandiosity, and then pairing that with narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy, you get this sort of perfect storm of dark triad traits that can give ascent to massive success. Now, the whole like narcissism thing, the psychopathy thing, the Machiavellian thing, like these are traits, and grandiosity, these are traits that are considered quite negative. And you definitely don't want to lean too far into them, because the last thing you want to do is become a Machiavellian, self-absorbed psychopath. However, when you look at someone like Alexander the Great, huge narcissist, if you read him, huge narcissist, ridiculously grandiose, very, very, very Machiavellian, and very, very psychopathic. And, when you look at lots of billionaires, when you look at Napoleon, when you look at Julius Caesar, when you look at any of the, ancient world and the greatest people there, they had those things on lock. And so the first step to installing sort of a sense of destiny, like Alexander the Great did, is to develop that grandiosity and to actually convince yourself that you are better than everybody else. And a lot of people don't like doing that because they've spent their entire life silently judging people who have a lot of self-confidence. So yeah, you got to be careful, because you like the realist, yeah, a little bit of ego narcissism in men is healthy. Yeah, 100%. It is healthy, man. Like, dude, anyone who, like, this is the thing, is to go after it and to think you can become a millionaire. Like, by believing you can do that, you have to immediately believe that you're more competent, or at least you will be more competent in the future than 99% of other people, which means that you've put yourself above everybody else in your mind. And there's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. There's only something wrong with that when you become self-absorbed and you become this just dick, basically. But yeah, a lot of those billionaires, man, they had that shit. Like, a lot of those conquerors, a lot of those kings, the princes, the generals, like they've got those four things down to a T. And you want to try and like foster them in yourself, but also keep them under some level of control. Because again, this is kind of like, if you're a conqueror and you're a complete psychopath and all you do is just kill, like, you're fucked. So like Caesar, for example, when he was when he crossed the Rubicon and started the civil war for the basically ended the Roman Senate and started the dictatorship, or the Caesarship. Like, what happened is Caesar would basically, this dude was a psychopath, because he killed like something like 3 or 4 million tribesmen, right? He was responsible. His KD ratio was nuts, right? But when he crossed the Rubicon and started attacking Roman cities inside of Italy at the time, he was notorious for his clemency, which was basically a trait where you sort of are merciful and you let people live. And he even let people live. He'd beat like a Roman army, and then he'd let the generals go and flee to Pompey, who was his rival. And the reason he did that is because he kind of realized, like, oh, I actually need to, I'm going to need these people if I want to run this country down the line. he had to beat the same generals a couple of times over because he would let them go. He was clemency. So like whether it's like, you know, grandiosity, narcissism, you really have to learn to balance those things. You can't just, if you're just a, you know, psychopath and you kill everyone, then you're fucked. Same thing with the grandiosity. Like you can have this sense of destiny and you can have this sort of like grandiosity about you, but that needs to be coupled and paired with this perception that you're never good enough, right? So yeah. Would you ever consider a place like Monaco? Yeah, I'd consider it, but I don't think so. So Sanjeev here says, how do I delegate tasks to team members that aren't very skilled? Well, it depends on what kind of task you're delegating. I mean, first of all, like you don't want to hire people that aren't skilled for roles that require skill. That's like rule number one. Like if you're hiring for a skill-based role, like I don't know, like sales or accounting or marketing, then you have to hire talent. That's just a non-negotiable. However, if the role specifically doesn't require skill, like it's just some virtual assistant role or something like that, then you can just hire a virtual assistant. So the question, Sanjeev, becomes, what are you trying to delegate? And you shouldn't try and delegate a skill-based task to someone who doesn't have the skill to do that. And that's really all I can tell you there. Is the audio lagging, guys? Like if I'm talking, does it feel like my lips are moving and then the audio is following? Because James has just said that. Does it, like if I'm talking now, are you kind of getting like a delay? Okay. Okay, no lag. James, what are you talking about, mate? Causing all this trouble. All right, guys, thank you for confirming that. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I am talking a bit slower today, guys. I just feel like being a little bit more chill on the stream today. How much do you pay for your trims? I'm assuming by trims, James, you mean haircut. Dude, I'll pay like £15. I'm just scissor cut around the side. It's fantastic. It's really cheap. But that's also, I just paid £60 for a hat, and then I never have to get a haircut again. It's way more efficient. Yeah. Okay. So that's that one. Let's have a look through. And what I'm going to do, guys, this time is kind of just scroll through questions and just basically like pick the ones I want to answer. And I think I'm going to just pick the smarter questions. So, well, here's an opportunity for me to be remarkably biased. Someone said, "Where's the plastic water bottle?" Yeah, I took you guys' advice and returned to the metal water bottle because that plastic one was not doing me much justice. Len says, how much faster do you think someone would go from 0 to 10K a month with Easy Grow instead of just this program? That depends entirely on how quickly someone works. I would say on average, if someone had the systems in Easy Grow for client acquisition, getting the 10K a month would probably be like 3 or 4 times as fast. It wouldn't be anything crazy like 10 times fast, like getting it in like a week or like a month. You know, instead of it taking like a year, it might just take like, I don't know, 6 months, 4 months, something like that. Again, though, it becomes about this thing of like, there's no point in doing Easy Grow unless you've got your foundation sorted. So it's like if you're kind of like starting from basic scratch and you nail week 1 and you pick a good niche, craft a good offer, get your mindset straight, build some expertise, then as soon as that's done, going straight to Easy Grow makes a lot of sense to me. So yeah. Selena says, any advice for the ladies in a man's business world? You got to be fucking ruthless. I think that male traits or masculine traits, for lack of better words, tend to predict success in a capitalistic environment more so than feminine traits. For example, a very deep feminine trait is agreeableness or empathy, and things like that. Whereas, more masculine traits tend to be sort of, I wouldn't argue discipline because there's lots of disciplined women, but control, aggression, etc., etc., and also competitiveness. And so, like, if you're a woman and you want to beat the men, you kind of have to learn how to behave like men, because the traits that men have tend to predict success more in this space. But the other thing I'd really realize, Lena, is that you're not competition at the level of business when you're starting out doesn't really exist. Like, most people you're competing with, men or women alike, just suck. And the market is so large and the ticket of your service is so low to a degree that, people rebuy, as you won't struggle. Competition becomes an issue when you're up against really competent entrepreneurs. Okay. So say that you wanted to, it depends also, the size of competition that you need to worry about depends on the size of your goal. If you want to get to just making 10K a month, 20K a month, 30K a month, 50K a month, you do not need to concern yourself with competition, because you need such a tiny percentage of the market to buy from you. So say, for example, say you're in the gym niche and there's 100,000 gyms. And let's say that you charge $1,000 for your service. Then all you need is something like 0.001% of the market to buy from you and for you to retain that, which means that you don't need to worry about competition. So people have this big perception of competition being a big problem, but it's really not. But if your goal is the 8-figure, 9-figure level, 7 figures to a degree, then competition becomes a little bit more frightening, because you're competing with people that you need to basically capture and own more of the market, if that makes sense. And so, like, for example, in the software game, in the B2B software game, which is something that I'll be looking at in the near future, I'm going to be up against people who have billion-dollar companies, who already own 20% of the market, who have, hundreds of millions of dollars in yearly revenue, with, hundreds of software engineers and offices. And I'm up against people that are funded by private equity firms that have access to these things. So it's kind of like, to break into those markets, that's competition. You're up against people that are fucking animals, and they've been doing this for 10 years longer than you. They have 10 times more money, 10 times more experience, 10 times the customer base, 10 times loyalty to the market, 10 times the brand. That's competition. Breaking into a market like that's when you need to be incredibly talented, incredibly hardworking, and just massively, massively apply yourself. But if you want to go from 0 to 10K a month, competition doesn't really exist. Because again, if you've got even 10,000 people in your niche, you need what? 10 of them? Not even 1%, not even 0.1%, 0 point something percent. So yes, Lena, I hope that helps you. How do billionaires maintain romantic relationships, and does it hold you down? I don't really know. I haven't spoken to any billionaires about their romantic relationships. My understanding of it's just about how patient your partner is, and probably setting the right expectations with your partner. My girlfriend, for example, I told this story on the first live. I told her on our first date that work always comes first for me. And I kind of just explained, like, hey, look, babe, like, I didn't call her babe because we weren't together at that point. But I just said, look, I work 12, 13 hours a day. I'm going to have very little time for you. I'm going to have very little emotional availability or capacity to deal with problems. I need you to be a little bit more independent. I need you to be a little bit more this, that, and the other. And she was like, fine. And, we've been together for 6 months, and she seems to be fine and happy. And, obviously I still am a boyfriend, which means I have a list of responsibilities. But because I set the expectation pretty early on, then yeah. Are you learning to code or hire? Oh, I'll just hire engineers, man. You don't, if you've got money, I'll tell you guys something. Like, someone asked the question of, like, am I looking to code? Will I learn to code or hire someone that can code to build a software? And the answer to that question is, like, the number one resource that money can buy you is the skill and talent of other people. Do you know how mental it is when you actually think about it, that you can literally just by virtue of having money, you can pay someone to do exactly what you want them to do for you. I know that's like just owning a business. But that's kind of like you can just buy talent. So no, you don't. Once you have money, you don't really need to learn much. You need to learn how to manage people and incentivize them and lead them. And that's kind of where the leverage comes from. As you get higher and higher into the echelons of business, you realize that you need to have, the only skill you really need to have is talent acquisition, leadership, and management and incentives. And then obviously some other stuff that you obviously are doing inside the business, whether it's branding, marketing, but that's the big one. How do you actually fuck yourself to the extreme to work super hard? Well, I mean, look, man, like you're not going to get to the point of working hard by fucking yourself up to any extreme. Yes, Julius, I do answer the YouTube chat every now and then. Pause. Well, look, like fucking yourself up to the extreme to work super hard is like, that's not the goal here. Like the goal is to work from a place of like healthy, sustainable, long-term progress. And I'm not really sure I understand that question, man. So yeah. Oliver says, how do you find the time? How do you make time to find a girlfriend when you work 12 hours a day? Oh, my friend, you need a system. I built an entire system for dating. I'm not even joking either. Like I had spreadsheets and shit. I had like everything dialed in specifically for like dating. I knew exactly what I wanted. I knew exactly what I was looking for, and I didn't dedicate much time to it. I literally built a system for it. I treated it kind of like acquiring clients, and I don't mean that in like a weird way, but I knew what I wanted, and eventually I kind of found it. You skip comments in school? Yeah, I did. Some of the comments I don't want to answer, or at least like I don't think that those questions are going to add that much value to the stream. You guys have to realize, guys, like some of your questions, like they can be answered, but they're like, if someone says like, what's the fastest way to make the most amount of money in the shortest time possible? The answer is like rob a bank. But the second answer is just do the fucking course. Like some of you guys need to learn to think critically. And I'm not going to just tell you guys what to do. I'm going to answer more interesting questions. Paul says, I'm in fitness. If I focus on people who just want to lose weight without gym and workouts, basically just diet and walking, is that a good niche or is it niche enough? Well, this isn't really a niche, man. Like how someone wants to do the work to achieve the outcome doesn't determine it doesn't encapsulate them as a niche, if that makes sense. Your niche is people that want to lose weight. But again, you're saying people who want to lose weight without going to the gym or working out. That's basically everyone. Everyone who wants to lose weight, I don't think many of them actually want to have to work out to do it. If there was an easier way to do it, they all would. So you need to be more specific to age, like location, like occupation, etc., etc. Yeah, Gorbino, I've been thinking about this. Write the questions in the spreadsheet and then answer them. I've actually talked to Sam Evans, the founder of Score, and he's building a feature that will allow us to rank the questions so that I can go through and answer the most popular questions. So you guys can sort of like the ones that are that you think are the best, and then we can get a sort of more collaborative approach on which questions are answered instead of it just being my dictatorship of knowledge. Do you journal? No, I don't. I've never journaled, ever. This is Laura's question here. The reason I've never journaled, I think, is largely because of the YouTube channel. A lot of my best videos have been rants, and I feel like a journal is kind of like it's a way for you to creatively express how you feel. And for me, YouTube is the way to do that. And I feel like if I journaled, then all of that creative energy would be taken away from YouTube, if that makes sense. Like if I'm ever like, if I feel the need to journal something, I'd probably put it on YouTube, unless it was personal. Are you the most successful Sam Ovens student? No. No, there's quite a few of Sam Ovens's alumni. If you want to go based on like client results and amount of clients signed and scale, then maybe probably. But there's a couple of guys that came up under Sam, like for example Alex Becker or David Rogenmoser, who have gone on to build multi-9-figure softwares. So I've got a long way to go before I can claim that. Also as well, Iman Gaji, learned a lot from Sam. So I'm definitely not the most successful Sam Ovens student. Again, it depends on what metric you use. If you're using company valuation, no. If you're using in the sort of coaching consulting space, probably yes. But again, there's so many variables, but I wouldn't say so. So yeah. Does cold calling even work? Yes, it does. These are interesting questions. How do you split work between you and Bo? Who said Bo's the best looking? This will be really funny in the chat. Let's see who knows who Bo is. Like in the chat, tell me if you're aware who Bo is. When I say Bo, like yes or no. This will be really interesting to see. Oh, we got a mixed bag. It looks like 80% yes. He's the handsome guy. Yeah, so Bo's my business partner. A few of you know, a few of you don't. Yeah, so the question from Dimitri is, how do you split work between you and Bo? And the way that Bo and I kind of break up our workloads is based on our skill sets and our knowledge. So for me, at the moment, like with my work, pretty much my entire life is recording. So I'm either recording YouTube videos, I'm recording ads, I'm recording video sales letters, I'm recording live streams, or I'm recording content for programs. And those are the kind of, like, my entire life is basically just talking to a camera. For not entirely, like there's more to it than that. I'll run meetings and all sorts of shit. But I do everything on the front of the business and Bo does everything on the back of the business. So if it's to do with operations or finance or management or systems or ops, then Bo handles it. If it's to do with front-end marketing, branding, vision, then I'll handle it. Think of it kind of like my head is in the clouds, talking a big game, and Bo's feet are in the dirt, making sure that, we are still alive, if that makes sense. And so, it's kind of like this perfect partnership because Bo has no desire to be in the limelight, to be known or to be like, to have people know who he is. In fact, he's actually the opposite. It's the last thing that he wants, which is really interesting. So yeah, that's the way we split work. What is Bo doing and why is he so mysterious? Well, again, he does everything in the back of the back of the corner. He does everything in the back. Where did you find Bo? We actually we met on Facebook Messenger in what must have been 2017. We had agencies in the same space. I think we met when Bo was 17 or 16. And this fucking dude was making $40,000 a month with an agency at like 16 or 17. Like, I've never met someone so fucking talented and determined. Like, he's like one of a kind. And I must have been 18 or 19, and I was making 10K a month with my agency. And we were in the gym niche. So we kind of got talking and we kind of became quite good friends. We joined some sort of familiar WhatsApp chats and stuff. And yeah, we kind of just built a friendship from there, like a connection. And it was funny because Bo hated doing sales calls, but loved doing service delivery. And I hated doing service delivery, but loved doing sales calls. And so we kind of, Bo started sending me sales calls to close for him that I closed, and I started sending service delivery. And, you know, he did my service delivery for all my clients, and I did sales for all of his deals. And after about a year of that dance, we decided to merge and partner into Northflow Consulting's name. And yeah, that was kind of how our partnership came to be. And then COVID hit, so we got to 100K a month with Northflow. Then COVID hit, and we lost all of our clients because we were in the gym niche and all the gyms shut down. And then during lockdown, we needed to make some money, so we started Imperium Agency to help agencies get clients. And then by the time gyms had reopened, we were sort of making more money with that. But we also had some clients that we just basically got rid of. So yeah, kind of interesting, right? But you guys don't, like, this is the thing, is you don't need a business. You guys have to realize, like, I was doing 10 to 20K a month myself without a business partner. And Bo was doing like 40 to 50K a month himself without a business partner. And we both would have hit 100K a month ourselves. Like, you don't need like a business partner to get you to like 8 figures. It can be really helpful, but you don't necessarily need it to get to the 100K a month mark. In fact, if anything, it's kind of the opposite. But go into like 8 figures, multi 8 figures, like it really helps to have either a very good business partner or a very, very, very talented executive suite with profit share. Ideally both. I have both. And there he is, look. This is a good question again from Dimitri. When should I start making content for inbound if I'm not yet an expert and just started in a niche? Well, you can only really make content when you know what you're talking about or you have something to make content about. So as soon as you acquire the critical information and start learning, you can start theorizing, and then bang, you should just start making content. Like as soon as you can, as soon as you feel like you have some sort of idea of what to talk about, even if it's for like 5 minutes or 6 minutes on a video, you should absolutely do it. And you'll never feel ready to post that first video. AG Live R, oh, not that question. Says, hey, Charlie, what's the one core belief that drives how you move through life and how you interact with everything around you? I don't think there's one. I think probably the belief that like endless growth is good. Like, you know, that's worth aiming for. The idea of endlessly growing, like, you know, constant, consistent, unrelenting, non-stop expansion is good. I'd argue that is the core belief. Everything kind of comes from that, if that makes sense. Noah says, you mentioned in Elucidatory Axioms that online consultants can make up to 3 mil a month. Where does that number come from? And when you get to that level, what's the next step? This is a great question. Look, the most info businesses, like when I'm talking info, I'm talking high ticket online info business, right? So like my sort of model where you're selling, you know, courses or programs for high ticket. It's very, very, very rare for an info business to break past 2 mil a month or 3 mil a month. And honestly, I can probably count on maybe one hand how many people have actually done that. And the people that have done it and gone beyond that and sustained it either did it through scamming people or huge brands. So like, I'm not calling these guys scammers, but you've got Grant Cardone, you've got Tony Robbins, for example. These are guys that have consistently made multi-8 figures with info and beyond because of their huge brands. But then you get other people like Andrew Tate, for example, again, online consultant selling information beyond 3 mil a month, huge brand. It's kind of the only variable. Iman Gaji as well, huge brand, right? And so, the brand is a precursor to that happening. And it just so happens that info is one of the easiest ways to monetize a B2C brand. But in terms of people that have done it without brands, you've got your publishing.com guys, you've got Sam Evans with consulting.com, you've got Cole Gordon with closers.io. There's very few people, brand or no brand, that have taken the online consulting high ticket model beyond 3 mil a month. Once you get to that point, once you get to 2-3 mil a month, the scaling thing just becomes kind of obsolete because your margins just absolutely decimate themselves. Hormozi is another example, by the way, of scale. And then you look to usually business to business software, or just the next sort of model, which is usually software. But info entrepreneurs, like a sort of seasoned veteran, decade of experience, $100 million in transacted value info entrepreneur, when they enter the business to business software game, they fucking crush. And the reason they crush is because the only way to get to multi-8 figures with info is to be one of the best marketers in the world. Because basically when you're selling information, you're effectively selling words on a page. You're selling, which is fine because it's valuable and it creates value. But you have to learn to sell courses in a market that's very hard to sell courses in. And so you have to be a fucking insane marketer. So when you go to business software, most business-to-business softwares or most softwares really struggle to grow because they lack marketing skills and because they lack sales skills. But the info game is all about marketing and sales. And so it's interesting that a lot of entrepreneurs in the info space do not bridge the gap to SaaS because they can't get the product right. Because software is all about product, but info is all about marketing. And so if in your info business, you can nail product and you can nail marketing, then when you transition to software, you'll fucking destroy everyone because, you'll have cash, which means you can bootstrap and not give away equity or control. You'll have talent, which means you'll have sales managers, sales reps, appointment setters, marketing managers, media buyers, and connections that can basically help you do the marketing on the front end, and operations managers and everything. And then you also have attention. You're probably going to build a software into your niche. You're probably going to create something that's going to serve your niche, which means you have the attention of the niche, you have the authority in the niche. A software is very easy to start and get to a 9-figure valuation if you have cash, attention, and talent. And building an info business to 8 or multi-8 figures requires you to basically have cash, attention, and talent. By virtue of getting there, you will have those 3 things. If you do it right and you don't end up scamming people and getting sued and just then end up starting some fucking podcast or getting trailed down by the FTC. So yeah, that's kind of the game. Primary example is Alex Becker. Got to 8 figures with info, thought, fuck this, it's not scalable, started Hyros, now he's worth like 100 mil. You can do that. Like it's the writing's on the wall. Is there another mindset module or product creation module in EasyGrow? No, EasyGrow focuses explicitly on client acquisition. So it's like EasyGrow is all about how to get clients organically using AI systems. Acquisition Nirvana, however, goes a lot deeper into product development. And so in Acquisition Nirvana, we're looking at how to basically build a high ticket info product, how to basically build a fucking sick course. And like transition from a done with you service or a one-on-one service all the way through to a info service. And that's kind of that. But there's a lot of mindset content in Acquisition Nirvana as well. But there's other stuff in EasyGrow that will help with mindset. Like, Acquisition Genesis, the first module in EasyGrow in and of itself is kind of a mindset module. In Imperium Academy, you've got Business Genesis, which is how to think about. Imagine like that, but purely for client acquisition. That's what Acquisition Genesis is inside of EasyGrow. So, and then obviously you've got the sales module, which is brand new as well. So that's a pretty big help. Have you read Mastery by Robert Greene? I have, yeah, I read it. It was one of the first books that I ever read on entrepreneurship, actually. What do you think about the concept of the life's task in terms of skill mastery? I think that mastery is an incredibly brilliant form of motivation. Because there's a couple of different forms of motivation, like that are sort of brought to first principle in terms of why people do what they do. And I think I can only remember three of them, but the three main ones are monetary, right? Mating, or mastery. And so, it's money, girls, or basically being the best. And what you usually find as a man specifically is the reason that you are motivated, or the reason that your motivation comes from somewhere, is it's either because you want money, i.e. you want financial power, because maybe you want to sleep with girls or get a girlfriend, or because you want to just basically be number one and you want to master something. Like, for me, in my personal experience, mastery is the purest form of motivation. And the reason I love it is because you can never really achieve it. And I like goals that you can't ever really reach, because they consistently keep you sort of running on that treadmill. Because as soon as you get to like 15, 20K a month, like you can, okay, so let me rephrase. As soon as you get to like 50 to 100K a month, you can get, like, the dating thing becomes very straightforward because you've got money and you're confident. And then also you've got enough money to do what you want. So those motivations, like if you're motivated by girls or money, then the second you acquire any sort of money, your motivation goes, and now you're just going to become miserable and probably drink a lot and make vlogs on yachts with other men. That's kind of what happens when people cap out. But if you want to master something, i.e. be number one, and like, mastery never ends. Like, that's kind of, yeah, that's kind of the cool thing. Matt says, what's a decision you made in business that didn't make sense on paper, but turned out to be the right call? And what made you trust your gut? Yeah, probably hiring my 3 best friends. This is like a really bad decision, apparently. Yeah, probably hiring my 3 best friends. Oh, what's happening with Luke Belmar? I don't know. What's happening with Luke Belmar, guys? What's going on with him? Yeah, hiring my 3 best friends. Like, everyone told me it was stupid, but I felt like they deserved a shot. And now they're all making, like, dude, my closest friend Jack, who's one of our closers, 2 years ago he reached out to me. We weren't that good friends at the time because we kind of got a little bit, we kind of fell apart a little bit, not of any reason, but just we kind of grew apart. And he messaged me literally 2 years ago in October saying, like, hey, like, I need some help. Can you help point me in the right direction? So I gave him a sales role, and last month he made, well, he actually might not want me to say, he makes multi 6 figures now. And like, 2 of my other really good friends, Will and Vince, they make like 6 figures as well. So it's like, that worked out pretty well. And I've never had to fire them or have those conversations. So that was something that I trusted my gut on that didn't look good on paper. Why is Luke Belmar being sued? What did he do? What's the accusation? I don't really know anything about these. Guys, it took me like 2 weeks after Tai Lopez got in trouble to figure that one out. I don't really pay any attention to this stuff. What did he do wrong? Who sued him? Is it the government suing him, or is it a private individual or a company, or anyone know? Scammed his fans. Partner is suing him. His business partner. That's a knife in the heart. Fuck that. That would hurt. Internet business drama, eh? His business partner suing him. Damn, that shit sucks. I wonder what happened. Will the information from Imperium Academy work in a software agency? Says Luke. Yeah, 100%, man. It's all pretty congruent. Adnan says, how much time did it take you to make your first million? I started at 17 and I was a millionaire by 21. So not long, 4 years. It takes a lot longer than that if you're on your own. I had a business partner from 19 to 21. So that helped significantly. If I didn't have a business partner, it would have taken a couple more years, I think. Again, you don't need a business partner, but I just got really lucky. Like, it was by God's grace that me and Bo found each other. Like, there was no rhyme or reason or intention behind it. We just sort of stumbled upon each other and got very, 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 very lucky. So. Edge Lamer says, why is the goal to be a billionaire? Well, again, man, this comes back to kind of what we talked about earlier. Like, I don't give a fuck or a shit or anything about $1 billion. Like, I don't care about having that money or access to that money. I wouldn't change how I lived. I wouldn't buy anything differently. I wouldn't really live any different way. In fact, the only difference would probably be how I flew long distances. And probably giving my family a ton of money as well. So it's not about like the billionaire thing to me represents, okay, think about this. Like, business to me is like a video game. Okay. And billionaire is effectively not completion of the game, but it's like one of the highest levels you can achieve. And so imagine you're starting like RuneScape, like on RuneScape, like the highest level you can achieve on RuneScape is level 126. And that's like, if you have to max your account out completely for that to happen. Like, that's kind of what billionaire represents to me. You know, like a company that is valued at $1 billion. That's like, you haven't completed the game, but you have effectively mastered the art of business. And I think that a lot of entrepreneurs could universally agree that the idea of being a billionaire, or at least owning majority share in a company that is worth $1 billion, is effectively the completion of the game. Now, once you get to $1 billion, then you that's when you're in the big leagues. You're now playing in the fucking like NBA, you're playing in the NFL. But it's kind of like, imagine playing American football, like billionaire shit. That's when you're at, like, you're getting to the NFL. That's kind of like your ticket into the really big boy leagues. Because then there's real stakes. Like, you know, you've got to fucking be on the ball at that point, because it's now you've built it, you've got to fucking keep it. And when you've got $1 billion, man, there's going to be thousands of people coming to try and take it from you. So yeah, guys, I'm going to run to the bathroom here for a quick second. So I'll be right back, and we'll carry on with some more questions. I'll be right back, boys. Cheers. Who the fuck said, Charlie, take us with you? Jesus Christ. Some of you guys are strange. When nature calls, you got to answer, gentlemen. Bro gave us 5 minutes to talk amongst ourselves. This is a good question from Tech T. This might sound like a stupid question, but did you ever get any back pain for working more than 13 hours? Yeah, in the beginning, man, like, kind of. Like, dude, as soon as you make $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, and I'm not even joking here, the second you make 10K, 20K, 30K, and you've got that in the bank, buy yourself a ergonomic chair and a standing desk, and buy a really comfortable setup. Like, it's that you can't afford it at the beginning, that's fine. But the second you can like afford to spend $1,000 or $2,000, you know, and liberally spend that on your business, like it's way better to buy a comfortable work setup that will help you grow your business more than anything in the early days. And I know that sounds stupid, but like it is really difficult to work with back pain or with neck pain, or when you're like hunched over a laptop and you're sort of like investing in a good setup is great. I've got a Herman Miller Series B remastered chair, and I never get back pain, man, like ever, never ever, because of this chair. It's literally brilliant, and like I can just like fully recline, and it's awesome. I really like this chair. In fact, let's see if I can actually do like a full recline. Let me see if I can do it. I'm gonna look like a fucking idiot if I can't now. How the hell do I recline this chair? Wait, here we go. No. This is stupid. I'm really not proving my point here, guys, am I? I'm like a bit of an idiot. There we go. Look at that thing. Way back. Yeah, boss. Okay. How to maximize trust and social proof when you're just starting. Confidence, like, look, for someone to buy from you, they need to have confidence that you can deliver them results. And someone's confidence is going to come from 3 areas. Either your offer, so what you're promising, your guarantee, essentially, your risk reversal, right? It's going to come from your guarantee. It's going to come from your clients, i.e. social proof and work you've done before, or it's going to come from you. And so when you don't have a good guarantee because you haven't done this before, and when you don't have social proof for clients, it needs to be on you to generate that confidence in the prospect. And so, you know, like, dude, and if you don't have, this is huge, guys. This is a really important lesson in sales for people just getting their first client or two. If you don't have confidence in your ability to deliver results for someone, you need to have confidence in your ability to find a way. And so the way that I used to pitch my early clients, like the first couple of clients I got, was like, look, man, like I'm starting this business, you know, I'm new to this game, blah, 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 blah. If you give me this money and you give me this chance, I swear on my life and my family's life and everything holy that I will stop at nothing to get you results. I will make this work, and I swear it by everything that is sacred to me. I promise you it will work, and I will find a way to get you these results. I am obsessed with this. It has to work for me. It has to work for me, because if it doesn't work for me, it won't work for you. And you are my ticket to success, and it will. Like, you just need to have that confidence. Like, just have this fucking like obsessive sort of delusional conviction that you can find a way, even if you don't know the way. That's basically how I started, and that was the speech that I gave to get my first couple of clients. It's like, that's where the confidence came from. So Edward says, oh, what did Edward say? Why is it that I know what I want and I know what I have to do in order to get there, but I just don't want to do the work? That, my friend, is answered in week 2. So just watch the mindset training, man. Trust me. Cameron says, is it good for those of us who already own a business and have a niche but want to make more money? Yes, 100%. Most businesses don't start with solid foundations, and most businesses can benefit from the founder having a way better mindset and a way better expertise and everything like that. So 100%. 100%. That's a pretty dark question. Elon Lim, which looks like we might have a bit of an AI profile on our hands here, guys. How do I stop thinking about dying all of the time? I actually shouldn't joke about that, because if you are a real person and you are thinking about that, you should not seek that help from me. You should probably talk to a therapist or a qualified mental health professional to assist you with your suicidal thoughts. Please do not rely on me, because I definitely do not have the expertise or empathetic competence to aid you with that. So if you are real and that is a real question, please get some help. And I would not seek it from an internet marketer, for lack of better words. Arnold says, how do I increase the time span where I can stay focused for deep work? And how does the ratio of deep work and management should be during the day? Yeah, I mean, Arnold, like, as far as the second question, like, in terms of do your deep work at the beginning. And like what I like to do, and this works really well for me, is I'll wake up nice and early and I'll get, 4 or 5 or 6 hours of deep work in really early. So I could start at 5 a.m., 6 a.m. sometimes, and that will basically see me through until midday usually. And so I can get like 5, 6, 7 hours of focused deep work in before my first meeting starts. I do all of my management happens in the afternoon. So meetings, checking messages, checking emails, admin, all of that happens after typically 2 to 3 p.m. And what that means is everything before then is for projects. And so that's how I split my day between deep focus work, building stuff, and managing what I'm building or have built. And so that's the way that I found works best for me. A lot of you guys are asking about book recommendations. Like Guilherme says, what's the best 3 books for mindset? Honestly, man, just watch the mindset module, dude. Like I've read probably 150 books on mindset or psychology or discipline and motivation. And I've compiled the most important lessons into a course that you can watch step by step for free. And it's going to be better than any book you could ever read on mindset. Like, you've got all the information there. So I would just go and watch week 2, man. Going through a breakup. I'm sorry to hear that, man. Breakups can be tough. How do I work when I don't have the mental energy to? Look, dude. Okay, this is an important lesson, because bad things are going to happen to you, or you're going to do things in your life that cause bad things to happen to you, like a breakup. Someone might die. Someone might get cancer. Someone might get run over. You might be in hospital. Bad things are going to happen. I've had bad things happen to me. My favorite strategy is to take all of that negative energy and channel it into work. And this is called like energetic transmutation or something like that. It sounds really wishy-washy and strange, but take all of that sadness, take all of that pain, take all of that anger, and just channel it into work and make work your vice. Like whenever someone goes through a hard time or a tough time, what they always do is they find a coping mechanism. And so that can be social media. It can be a sport. It's usually not a sport though. It can be pornography. It can be drugs. It can be alcohol. It can be binge eating. Make work your vice. Like when something bad happens, just start working. And like if you want to forget about the pain, just work. And that's obviously not a long-term strategy, because if you go through traumatic times, you want to try and find ways to resolve that trauma and, make yourself whole again. But working, man. Work. Noah says, you said that Imperium Academy can get us to multi-5 figures and EasyGrow takes it further. What stops Imperium Academy from reaching 6 figures? And what does EasyGrow add that makes that possible? Yeah, so the Imperium Academy is designed to help you get your first few clients. And the thing is you can get to 6 figures, multi-6 figures with just what's in Imperium Academy. You can. It's just going to take longer, because the thing that will get you to multi-6 figures really quickly is appointment booking. And The appointment booking modules in EasyGrow are 10 to 20 to, I would even argue, 30 times more advanced and in depth than the appointment booking modules in Imperium Academy. And you can if you're talented enough and smart enough to build your own acquisition systems in a way that is scientific and cohesive on your own, then you won't need EasyGrow. But if you don't want to have to learn that and go through the trials of trial and error about a million times, then EasyGrow, like, you can get there with Imperium Academy. It's just EasyGrow makes it way faster and way easier and way less painful. Charlie, where can we see your credentials? I think it would help you acquire more people, as it's hard to filter out online learning academies. I don't really have any credentials, man. I don't have a degree. I don't have a I mean, my grades in school weren't amazing. I'm literally not recognized by any official bodies. There's not a single institution on this planet that can claim that I've done anything or achieved anything, except for my Stripe dashboard. So, there's that. I think we've got like 25 million processed in our Stripe, and then like another 15 million in bank transfers and other currencies and stuff. So I suppose that's my credentials. Even then, like $40 million doesn't feel like much money anymore, which is fucking ridiculous when you think about it. But I want like 400 million, It's really funny how that shit works and how numb you become to your achievements. Oh yeah, look. Yeah, McFlash. No, who said that? David? The ClickFunnels Awards. Gentlemen, behold my competence and prowess, for I have two shiny framed objects here. $10 million award, $10 million award. There we go. God, the authority in this industry is a shady game, isn't it? Inspect element, ask credentials. Yeah. Oh, guys, I caught this person once who was like faking Stripe screenshots for their ads, and you could see that what he'd done is he changed one of his Stripe. Anytime I show like my Stripe screenshots or anything, I always like make it a live page. I'll like refresh or hover my mouse over it so you can see it's real. But there was this one guy who, what was his name? Hens Advice was his name. And there was this guy who he's called Hens Advice, and he'd made this video about like how he was making like money with his agency, and it was actually like coaching revenue or something. And he basically just like got completely exposed for like faking his Stripe, and then he stopped uploading. You do not fake anything, because people will fucking catch you. Like, people will fucking get you if you fake your revenue or you fake your cash collected, or people will find out and they will fucking get you. And when you've got an audience and when you're doing well, not everyone, but a lot of people, a lot of your competition are looking for reasons to take you down. And there's no better reason than, just fucking making it all up. Don't fake anything. Don't fake testimonials. Don't fake revenue. Keep it real, keep it honest, keep it transparent. Otherwise, you're going to be in trouble. What's your diet to have energy? Yeah, I was carnivore for 2 years, and now I eat steak, avocado, and fruit. And I might try sweet potato if I'm feeling a bit naughty about it. Just trying to get those carbs back in without overdoing it. Avocado. Yeah. Can I be a millionaire with one faceless YouTube channel? Yeah, probably. If you had a really good one. He talks plainly. He wants us to use our money on his paid stuff. You are right, my friend. Why do you think I do these live streams, man? Do you think I do it out of the goodness of my own heart? Why do you think I made the course free? Do you think it was because I'm this heroic saint? No, it was a business decision to get people to buy my things. Like, what are we pretending here? I've got nothing to hide. My intentions are for you guys to convert to customers, whether you're watching this now live or watching this back as a recording. I'm not a fucking saint. I'm not a fucking charity. What do you want to know about it? You know? Gotta be honest. Again, don't hide things. Like, you guys know my intentions here. You know, this is why, like, literally in the introduction of Imperium Academy, I say at the very beginning, this is free, so you buy my things. And then no one can come after me and be like, oh, like, you're trying to pitch me. It's like, yeah, I am. No fucking shit. You know? How to handle disrespect without sounding like a sensitive individual. You just don't care. Dude, like, if someone's disrespectful, it depends on the circumstance, man. Like, I will tolerate disrespect from people I don't know. So, like, you know, if someone's saying something bad in my comments or on my ads and it's disrespectful, I won't give a fuck. If someone on the street calls me a dick or like throws something in my car, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care about being disrespected by people I don't know. If an employee disrespected me, or a friend disrespected me, or a partner disrespected me, then that's a little bit different. And the way that you call that out is by basically saying, like, look, I didn't appreciate the way that you handled that. It's made me feel pretty disrespected, and I feel that it's harming our relationship. So let's communicate as adults and find a way to rebalance the equilibrium in our relationship to make sure that we don't build resentment moving forward. You just don't make it personal. Don't get emotional. You, like, dude, people, like, disrespect is people can only disrespect you if you feel disrespected. Like, it's a fucking decision. You know, it's a decision. Jerry says, how would you use live streaming for a new business and or Imperium client? I'm not sure I understand the question. Well, basically, you turn on the stream, you ask people to ask you questions, and then you answer them, add value, bring order to chaos, and let the value convert them into clients over the long term, which is exactly what I'm doing right now. Yeah, Jerry's on fucking smoke here. Julius. We got some drama in the chat here, guys. You guys you gotta fucking baby yourselves. We're all friends here. Oh dear. All right. Huz says, "Hey Charlie, I'm Huz 19 and I have a drop servicing agency where I drop service video editors from Fiverr to YouTubers. I'm a middleman. I've been doing it for 6 months and I've gained much knowledge but haven't got any clients. Should I quit and start something similar to this program or should I continue?" I personally do not like the drop servicing model, because that's what Fiverr is for. That's what Upwork is for. Like, the middlemen are only valuable when they have access to talent and individuals that nobody else does. And so that's why Airbnb is, if you think about Airbnb, that's a middleman business that fucking works, because it's the only way to access individuals that have nice homes or rooms available. If your entire service is based on just basically getting good at hiring people from Fiverr, then you're not selling anything that's unique, specialized, or in any way, shape, or form valuable. So I would definitely do something new. If you were drop servicing for software engineers and you had access to a pool of incredibly talented AI engineers, sales reps, etc., you don't want to go and hire those on Fiverr because they're a little more advanced. For video editors, man, that's not a valuable enough middleman, unfortunately. Unless you were finding video editors for directors that make movies. Do you know what I mean? But it's not really strong enough. Jerry, my man, appreciate you doing this. You're amazing. I can't explain how deeply you've touched me. What? Many of us with this amazing opportunity. I'm messing around with you, brother. No, I'm messing around with you. I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. That means a lot. W's for Jerry. Someone asked me if I'm a virgin. Guys, this is a business live stream. My virginity should be none of your concern. What a wild question to ask. To be fair, I probably shouldn't call them out or entertain them because by virtue of even calling that out, it just encourages you guys to be even more degenerate. So, aye. Okay. So Ali here says, I don't think this will work in Morocco because the UK is more open-minded. Well, there's no question here, but my answer, if the question is around that situation, I wouldn't necessarily cold call in Morocco. I would suggest that you have a different market or use a different market. You guys have to understand that, like, you have to go where the money is. Like, even if you're based in second or third world countries, like, you shouldn't restrict yourself to those markets because you're literally fishing from a pond that has less fish in it and the fish are way smaller. And so you're going to catch less fish and you're going to catch smaller fish. Fish in first world Europe, fish in Canada, fish in America, fish in Australia, fish in New Zealand, and you'll make more money. Do not fish in Morocco, don't fish in Bangladesh, don't fish in Brazil, don't fish in Mexico, don't fish in, to be fair, Poland's becoming a first world country. None of those countries are bad, but their GDP is smaller. There's less businesses, there's less successful businesses, and you're going to make less money. Go where the money is. PW says, do you plan to have kids? Yeah, I do, man. I want lots of kids. I want lots of babies. Olivia says, how do you keep emails from landing in spam or your DMs in the hidden requests folder on Instagram? That, Olivia, I do not know anymore, sadly. That's what EasyGrow is for. And I know that sounds like a pitch, but the answers to those questions are in EasyGrow. But I would expect that a few hours of research on YouTube would give you some up-to-date answers on those things. How many kids? Dude, I want like 5 kids. I think that'd be sick. I want like 4 or 5 kids. I'd love to have like 4 sons and then 1 daughter. But you have the 4 sons first. So that daughter is going to be like protected to the ends of the earth. Do you imagine like being the boyfriend of a daughter and then you have to come home to the dad and then like 4 older brothers. 11 sons. Why stop at 5? Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, 5 daughters, that'd be rough. Obviously, I'd still love them all the same, but that would be tough. That would be tough. Olivia, there's an answer for you here. That looks like it might be in a language that I don't understand. But by the assumption of your name, perhaps you do understand it. It looks Polish, maybe? I'm not sure. But that might help you, Olivia. So I'll leave that there for a second. What do you lose from becoming a work addict? I don't know. A lot. You'll lose friends. You'll lose like your health sometimes. But it's all worth the sacrifice, in my opinion. Will you write a book? Maybe, if it makes sense to. Euros. He's an EasyGrow client. Coming from EasyGrow, what's your opinion on keeping DFY or Done With You solution as an appointment setting agency instead of transitioning to info? Could charge way more, so LTV to CAC is still huge, or is info on how to set up AI acquisition systems to play? Yeah, dude, 100% transitioning to info, teaching people how to use AI to acquire clients. I'm telling you guys right now, like this is a warning. 1 year from now, Done For You appointment setting agencies will be obsolete. Mark my words. Like there are softwares, and I know about these softwares because I've been invited to invest in lots of them because of my position in the market. There are softwares on the work right now that are automating basically client acquisition, outbound client acquisition. And the game will become about who is really good at installing these AI systems. And that's a hard thing to do, and they're hard things to master, which is why all businesses systems are transitioning to that. And I can't tell you which ones because I'm under non-disclosure agreements for them. What's the right balance between blind work ethic and inner peace? I don't really give a shit about inner peace, man. So sadly, I can't really answer that question. My only understanding of inner peace comes from watching Kung Fu Panda. That's the extent of my knowledge on Buddhism and peace. So sadly and unfortunately, I can't really give you an answer. Yeah. Oh, did I miss some questions? Yes, I did. So Jan says, Charlie, if you could spend 60 seconds with your 18-year-old self, what key advice would you give him to help him achieve success faster based on what you know now, including lessons you learned too late, mistakes to avoid, habits to start or stop sooner, and books or resources you'd found earlier, or anything you've learned about besides people? Besides, do as much outreach as possible and focus on the self-transcendence document. You guys have a habit here of isolating the things you need to do and then asking me to answer the question, but removing the most important things. If I had my 18-year-old self sat in front of me, I would grab him by the shoulders, shake him as hard as I could, and just say, do the fucking program. Do not quit and do the program. Do not quit and do the program. Do not quit. And I would say that as many times as I could fit into 60 seconds. Do the program, don't quit. 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 That's it. There's nothing I can say in 60 seconds that will just radically click and shift your brain. Like the questions that seek these sort of shiny objects or single pieces of knowledge that will change everything are just lost. Like Do not quit, do the program. Do not quit, do the program. Do not quit, do the program. If you do that, that's the best chance you have of being successful. Imperium Academy gives you like probably the best chance of you being successful to date. Like, it genuinely is the best in the world, the best program in the world for starting a business. And so, yeah, if I had 60 seconds to convince you of anything, it would just be to do the fucking program. Charlie, why isn't Hannah a mod in here? I don't think Hannah's actually in this stream, mate. She's a mod in the in the school group, I think. How to invest and where to invest when you're starting out. Don't and nowhere. Dude, until you look, guys, listen to me about this. Let me give you an important little bit of advice on investing as a beginner entrepreneur. There is no fucking point in you investing your money in anything until you have got at least $100,000 or pounds or euros liquid after tax. Even then, there's not really much point, because to invest properly and to learn to invest and like, first of all, when you do have money, buy low interest, low risk assets like US Treasury bonds or the S&P 500, because those will give you a return of 4 to 6%, and the chances of you actively investing in crypto or day trading and surpassing and overachieving on the S&P or a US Treasury bond is incredibly slim. And the only way to do it is to maybe buy property and buy real estate or buy assets that require active management. You do not want those things. Like, you've got to think about your time. Never invest in things that require your time, your attention, or your energy, because the cost of those things is way more than the return you'll get. Guys, I learned this lesson because I bought a bunch of rental properties with my business partner. We looked at buying houses. We bought like a holiday home. We bought property to build this property thing and put all of our cash into property. And it returned like a 7%, 8% return on our money. But it took, and the return might have been like, I don't know, like fucking 60, 70, 80K a year. But that's how much we were making every like 3 days. And the property portfolio required at least like 2 full days of my attention a month for work. And so I realized that, like, no, it was more than that. It was like a week or something. So I was like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm working a week to make like $6,000 a month. Like, what the fuck am I doing? When if I spend that on the business, I would have made like 60K, like 80K. So don't invest in anything. Like, first of all, there's no point in investing until you've got like 100 grand, 250 grand, 500 grand, maybe even $1 million. That's when you can start investing and trying to get better returns and stuff. But yeah. Anyway, guys, I got to go because I've got a meeting to run to here. So we're going to cut this one a little shorter than usual. So yeah. How did you guys find this sort of style? A little bit more chill, a little bit more easy, a little bit more calm. Again, like, I'm aware that there's probably 400 questions that I haven't answered. And for that, I apologize. Oh, come on, Jerry. Big up Jerry Douglas here. Someone get that man a beer. Fucking legend. Yeah, so sorry, guys. I'm going to fuck off. Love you all very much. Get back to work. And I'll see you back here on Thursday. Cheers, guys. Have a good evening. Have a good day. Good morning. Good night, wherever you are. Never quit. Keep working. See you guys.